new DC for you, but it's a guy you've already known with Dexter McCoyle, but also Coach Pavito coming in. Well, what's that been like for the defense, taking on these new leaders?
I think it's actually been great for the defense having someone who most returning players were real familiar with has helped us tremendously in year two. A lot of guys knowing Coach Dix. He's been with a couple of guys from UIW who came over with the new staff, and this is his second year here just as well as his mine. So him being the next hire made it a lot comfortable out there, and it makes it a lot more fluent for everybody, just to trust in him and for this fall.
You're a real vocal player when you're out on the field. Seems like you're really someone communicating with your own team, communicating with the other team. What makes that so important to you to be kind of a voice that breaks through on the field?
I just feel like my approach. My major's kind of like theater, so I'm always like a outspoken guy, and I always been someone who wasn't afraid of, being able to talk in with a lot of people around or cameras on you or anything. So I feel like being a vocal guy helps a lot of people who isn't vocal. Like if I'm always a vocal guy, then that puts trust in the person next to me, or it puts trust in my teammates to know, like, when I'm not the vocal guy, then something may be wrong, or he's not himself, or this and that. So it's just been me since I was young. I always been a vocal guy, outspoken. Like, I'm a talk. Talk when I'm not supposed to, talk when I'm supposed to. Just always been a loud talker.
What's been the main difference, having Coach Dex as the new defensive coordinator compared to last year?
The main difference, I wouldn't say it's really been a difference, because the system really has changed. So with Coach Dex being a new DC, I say it's a lot of trust, and the team chemistry is way closer now that we kept someone on staff and a lot of returners know the system. I think the difference between him and Pat Key was a lot of guys were coming in. We're all transfers, learning the system with a DC. Now we're with a DC that we're familiar with, a guy that was in the system. So that just builds the trust factor across the whole defense and across in the football locker room.
How much fun was it for you guys to be out there?
Oh, that was very exciting. You wait, we in the season around December, January, and you wait almost 6 or 7 months to come do this all over again, when it actually comes. You get a spring ball to work on your craft, but now it's the real thing. 18 days, straight, and then you're actually off to kickoff. So it's exciting having fun out there with the guys today.
With this defense, y'all had some bright moments, but as some people have pointed out, kind of point to that Arkansas State game. How do y'all, going into this season, how do y'all kind of stay consistent and avoid those games like the Arkansas State game?
I think one thing you do with that Arkansas State game is you listen to what the head coach has to say after the game, and you literally watch it right there. You can't even let that Arkansas State game move on to the next week if we take it back to last season, because if we do that, then we might not see a bowl game, or we might not even, excel as we did to turn around our season at the end of the season. So I say we don't even worry about last season. That's not even our goals. Our goals is to be one of the best defenses in the nation. So the Arkansas State game is just another chip on our shoulder. When we replay and when we get to that week and we watch that film, they did us in some type of way. So we're going to remember that when we hit the field this year.
Talking to y'all, I think it was last Saturday, a lot of players have that Arkansas State, it almost felt like it was a turning point for y'all to realize, how big was that Arkansas State game last year that kind of helped pay off, especially when going into this season?
I say it wasn't really big. We took a huge loss. Yes, we did that, but it was really the turning point for us to realize, okay, that wasn't us. What we just put on tape, as you go back and you look at all the games before, we knew we wasn't disciplined. We knew we wasn't the team that we were supposed to be. So that was one of those games that you really can learn from and help. It can either help you as it did, turn around our season, or we can let it sit in our heads and have a losing season the rest of the year. So I think that was a good, game. That's something that we need to see, and it helped us change around our season to continue to win the rest of the fall.
We got teased. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. We got teased last year saying you might play a little offense, play some receiver. Didn't happen. Is that going to happen this year?
I wish. I hope. Those guys on receiver, we got a lot of receiver guys. That was just something I talked about, in the recruiting or whatever. So, it didn't really work out. Had a couple of opportunities, didn't really cash out on them. So we just gonna put our trust in those guys over there on the offense.
You guys, make a big turnaround from last season to this season, predicted to win, your division. How cool is that for you guys? Now that you guys are being hunted, so being the hunters, how cool, difference does that make for you?
I say it's pretty cool. Texas State didn't always have the spotlight or the lights and the cameras on it. So now that, we got the opportunity, we just here to accept the challenge, embrace, the things that's going on outside of the field. We don't really worry about the accolades or what they say we're going to do or this and that. We just worry about what's going on, be in the moment where our feet are, and we take each day one step at a time and focus on what's at hand.
Obviously you're familiar with being at Oklahoma, obviously the expectation, especially when they're in the Big 12, it was always an expectation, win the conference championship. What is it when you're a part of a team, and especially when the media is hyping this machine up? How do y'all handle those high expectations and try to, kind of make everyone happy and also with y'all being satisfied?
I think those high expectations is good to have. We don't really pay attention to them. It's just like when you have those high expectations, you take the time and you just focus on what's in here in the room, because if we don't focus on what we have going on in here, we can't do the high expectations that the world has for us, or we can't make the plays that we don't gonna make on Saturdays if we don't make them here in film and the classroom and on the field. So having high expectations is a good thing, but if you pay attention to them, you can easily have a losing season. A lot of teams have a lot of good players and don't really excel, so we just got to focus on the main thing and take one step after another.
With the new college football video game coming out, have you had a chance to play, and just overall thoughts about the game itself?
Oh, yeah. I had a couple of chances. Played the game the first day it came out. It was very exciting. We haven't had college football in over 10 years. So just having that opportunity, playing, Cole basically said, playing with guys from all over the place, playing with yourself, you're going to get a lot of Texas State versus a lot of Texas State. That's exciting to see. And, honestly, I feel like it actually helps you learn the playbook a little bit, because, your actual plays from your schools on there, and you see the things that you can do, and, knowing the different players. So you're like, oh, come on, man, you better than that. It's just very competitive nature.
Since we got to tell the coaches they're in study hall, we got to practice the game.
Yeah.
Better. So I asked Cole earlier, who's the best kick return tandem, and I heard you agree with that. It's Cole and Ish.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about them. What makes them so dangerous?
Those two guys, they're very consistent, very coachable guys. Coach DePrada is the one who sets us up for very success on special team. Coming to meeting with an intent each and every day, and those guys take everything that he says. If those two guys not intentional in the meetings, then they can't do those things on Saturdays. They can't. Oh, you would take this return and you take it to the house, or you take this turn and you take this to the house. I mean, you got Cole Wilson that's 36 yards average every kick return. You got Ish Mighty, first team All-American, both of them All-American. Special teams All-American, and special teams is where a lot of things start. So those two guys take it serious, and just watching them practice every day is just exciting.
You mentioned Coach DePrado, and I even heard you say, "Be where your feet are." That's something he says a lot. It seems like he gets a lot of respect from a lot of the players. Anytime I'm interviewing, I just feel like he gets dropped in there. What is it about Coach DePrado?
I say Coach DePrado, he's a great guy. His approach each and every day is the same. He's the same guy. He's intent in everything he says. When Coach DePrado talk, he means business. When any coach talk, it means business. But he's more intentful, and it demands more attention than most coaches. A coach might call you out or whatever, but when he talks, when his voice is everybody's attention, everybody's locked in, because we know without special teams, a lot of games can go a lot of ways. Block punts, block field goals, all that stuff matters. We see the touchdowns, everybody gets excited for those, but it's the little special teams plays that be able to even set up those nice touchdown plays, or set up those big returns, or set up the defense or offense to be successful. So I just Coach DePrado for that.
When you first got here at Texas State, there wasn't the new turf. Obviously the Enzo complex hadn't been started yet, but now seeing everything being built here, how does it make you feel that when y'all were able to turn this program around, that everything's kind of being invested back into the football?
We appreciate it a lot. Like, we appreciate the donors. We appreciate everybody who's donated and helped us get the new turf. We appreciate everybody who's believing in us, and we're gonna repay them this fall for sure. Like that's a huge thing. Like having new facilities, like it's good for recruiting or whatever. We can do what we got, but just getting that new stuff, getting a new turf, getting a new weight room, a new end zone complex, that just shows like how much appreciation that the fans and donors show for us. So we thank them a lot.